a torch representing its burning desire to be excellent in making an impact, empowering its members to be excellent professionally.
I am pleasantly pleased to have experienced such a wonderful speech and presentation by Mr. Ramsey J. today. I've been a member for NSBE for a while now, but this has been an awesome experience, and I really encourage.
We have a responsibility. I mean, we have a responsibility not to just those people that came before us, but the people that are going to come behind us.
A place to stage, a dynamic, a moving, and a great speaker, Mr. Ramsey J. Jr.
675-40. 675-40. The Chicago Six gathered in 1975 with a vision, with an idea, with a goal to create an organization that recently celebrated 40 great years. 6, 75, and 40. 6, 500, 30,000. 6 regions, 500 chapters, 30,000 members. This is NSBE, an organization whose image is a torch representing its burning desire to be excellent in making an impact, empowering its members to be excellent professionally, to be excellent academically, and to be excellent in the impact that they make on their community. Friends, I'm not a NSBE member, but I tell you what, if you tell me 6 men with a vision in 1975 at Purdue University to create an organization that today numbers 30,000 with 6 regions and 500 chapters around the world, stands tall, stands proud, I tell you that I am among greatness today. Greatness doesn't happen overnight, nor does it happen casually. And if I can be a catalyst to the leaders that are already here and help you have another great years of 40 years, that is what I'm here to be of service to do. My name is Ramsey J. Jr., and my mission is to empower dreamers to become achievers. Blessed with an opportunity set that says, to whom much is given, much is required. I've been blessed and given a lot. It is my responsibility to help others do great things. I wish I could tell you that my remarks were well-baked and prepared well in advance, but something happened to me last night at your evening of excellence that superseded my prepared remarks. I had some things I was going to say, some slides I was going to show, and it would have been a great show. But sometimes as a speaker, your job is not to speak a word, but to bring a word. And so with your permission, for the next 15 minutes, I want to bring a word that was spoke to me based on my experience here yesterday, last night, and this morning. Now, I know we're not in church, but I do like to have people speak back with me. So if it's okay for me to ask for your permission to speak the way I'd like to speak, I'd like you to just say that's okay. Maybe I should pass the plate and help us get where we're trying to go. Darnika told me that don't worry, they won't be a shy bunch. She's undersold you. But thank you for the permission. I will also adhere to my principle of my 3 B's. However, I know one of our honorees last night spoke about her 5 B's, I believe. I have 3 B's myself, if I may share. BG, BB, and BG. The first B, BB, I'm going to BG, be good. BG, be good. The second one, BB, I'm also going to be brief. I will be brief. But my BG maybe is most celebrated. As soon as I'm good and brief, I'll be gone. So I'm going to be brief, be good, and then I'm going to retreat and I'll be gone unless you invite me back again. I want to talk about the 21st century. I want to talk about the 21st century and transformational leadership. That's the message that was put on my heart this morning based on some of the things that I experienced last night and some of my research before last night. Understanding that if the idea of being a 21st century leadership is true to my core, my message today, I'd like to submit a working definition of leadership for you. For me, as I define leadership, it is about, number one, going where you need to go without being asked to go there. No one has asked you to go where you need to go if you are a true leader of the 21st century in the spirit of transforming your community. You go before you're asked to go there. Point number 2 under my idea of leadership is you go there and you deliver yourself in service, not to be served. You deliver yourself in service, not to be served. Point number 3 under my testament of leadership in the 21st century, you leverage your peers' assets across disciplines. You don't just recognize the disciplines around you. You go find your other peers with other disciplines and bring them to the table for your mission, for your objective. And last but most importantly, you walk your walk as a leader in such a way that you leave an indelible footprint, incapable of being erased or eroded over time because of the way that you have traversed your own journey. Now, if you really understand what that means, by definition, I will argue that there is no way for a footprint of a leader to be indelible if they wait to bring somebody along the way when they've made it. Let me say it again. It's not possible for it to be indelible if you wait until you get to the promised land and then bring somebody along with you. The road will be erased before you get to the promised land. They won't be able to walk in your footprint. The only way one can truly walk a 21st century transformational leadership journey in a way that is indelible is you must have them with you while you are moving forward. That is what your program After Me is going to be doing with the 100 young folks from Phoenix. You've got to bring them with you while you are making your way through the promised land. Leadership is about going where you need to go without being asked, delivering yourself in service, leveraging your peers' assets across disciplines, and walking a walk that is leaving an indelible footprint for those that come after you, to not just meet your expectations, but to exceed your expectations. Because if I'm true to my word, all 30,000 members stand on the shoulders of 6 men, 1975, at Purdue University, with an idea of what we, not me, not you, but us. It is my honor to bring remarks at the 2014 NSBE Professional Development Conference. Good afternoon. I'm going to share 3 P's along my way of helping you be a transformational leader. The first P is possible. The first P is possible. I believe ultimate transformation starts by redefining in your mind what is possible. What is possible? Redefining that in the 21st century as a leader. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am because I think it's unfortunate you come up here and you speak and people don't know, well, who are you and where you're from? Glad you asked. I'm an only child. Anybody else that's an only child in the room, work with me right here. We, the proud, only children, grew up with parents that worked hard probably, and therefore not to our own, but we had to find a way to entertain ourselves sometimes because we didn't have that sibling to play with. That was me. My possibility set as a young person, which has fueled what I'm doing today, and I think might remind you of some important lessons, was the red button on the boombox that my mom got when I was about 5, 6 years old. And that red button on the boombox was my playmate. And as long as it had double D Duracell batteries, every time I wanted to talk, it wanted to talk. And whatever I wanted to talk about, it wanted to talk about. Just not a trick question, engineers, but if I said hello, it said. If I said goodbye, it said. If it said I look good, it said I look better. That was my playmate back then, and I loved playing with that. I was also a civic leader even in the 5th grade. I didn't like cartoons. I threw a protest in 5th grade. Turned my back 180 degrees when the teacher would come and play the latest Disney movie as an act of defiance. I have the right to protest. 5th grader. Coming from a mom, I met one of my friends here. My mom is from the south of Georgia, plays a one-way conversation, her way or no way. She said, that's not going to work here. You're going to have to get that in line. I said, Mom, let's make a deal. She says, you're in 5th grade. We don't make deals. I said, just try me out on this. Let me have access to the boombox, and now that you got the VCR, let me have access to that. Friends, my possibility set as a young boy happened when I took that recording device on the boombox, the recording on the VCR. And because I didn't like talk shows, I did like talk shows, I didn't like cartoons, I love talk shows. So your speaker recorded Sally Jesse Raphael. Let me throw another name at you, Phil Donahue. Got some Phil fans. Geraldo Rivera. Oprah was there then too. And I recorded those shows. And I set up my own little engineering room in my little bedroom. And you could find your speaker in 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade, playing those videos back 3 ways, friends. I'd play it back the first time with no sound on the TV playing the recording, but recording my voice on the boombox recorder. And I pretended to be the host of the show. And I began to do whatever I thought that host was doing, but I thought I was doing it better. And then I played it back a second way, and I pretended to be the guest on the show. And then I played it back a third way, and I pretended to be the audience member on the show. And you might say, well, how does that tie into your first point about possible reimagining what was possible? You know, friends, I ended up going and getting a great education. You can read about that. Worked on Wall Street. You can read about that. Met the President of the United States. You can read about that. Spoke all over the world. You can read about that. But I will tell you this. I didn't have access or exposure to any of the things that I ended up doing with my life. But as a young kid, playing those machines, playing those parts, time after time, I gave myself permission to be anything that screen brought to me. And that screen brought me the President of the United States. It brought me to Africa. It brought me a guy that found a cure for cancer. It brought me anybody who was doing something that was making an impact in this world. And I began to believe in my mind that someday it could become possible. What's the underlying lesson? The lesson is this. I encourage you, NSBE members, to preserve the zealous possibility set of your youth. With all the knowledge and training you have, leave some space for the zealous dreamer of that kid in that room that nobody could tell I couldn't be all the things that I pretended to be day after day. There's something very powerful about somebody who has the skill set and the imagination to see what hasn't been seen before, to go where they haven't gone before. The combination of the two in the 21st century can transform the world as we know it. Someone made a comment about that last night with respect to some of the remarks that were made by some of the honorees. I don't remember the exact quote, but somebody talked about what one group saw when they went to Africa and what another group saw. One group didn't see the opportunity. The other said, I see nothing but opportunity. Both looking at the same data set. One had that zealous, youthful spirit along with the skill set. That combination, extraordinarily powerful. I shared with some of my friends last night one of the most impressive feats of engineering. I was fortunate to visit the Great Pyramids of Egypt in May of this year. Built in 2560 BC, roughly 4,574 years ago. If you take the landmass of the earth, there are possibly 30 billion coordinates that could call themselves a point on the landmass of the United States. We're talking about the mass of the earth x water. There are 30 billion coordinates that can lay claim to being a spot on that landmass. Friends, what if I told you that my research told me that the Great Pyramid sits at the place that would be the geographic center of the earth? This pyramid was built 4,500 years ago without any of the items that we would probably consider necessary to find that calculation today. No computer, no technology, but they found the center of the earth 4,005 years ago and built a pyramid that stands today. I think you're supposed to remember that that spirit of ingenuity is in you. I think you're supposed to remember that the Egyptians built the Great Pyramid in a way that had not existed before because they thought it was possible to do so. With 40 years of excellence, 30,000 members, a global database. I told somebody, don't you ever tell me you can't find science, technology, engineering, and math professionals in this world. I got 30,000 of them. Call me. I'm on the record. We need to dream with a controlled yet reckless sense of abandon in the 21st century to transform our world. And I am on the record of being a dreamer here with you to do that. The second one is probable. You've got to push the envelope of expectation to make the transformation process probable. Push the envelope of expectation. My life lesson for you, if you are not hearing no in your transformational pursuit, you are aiming too low. Let me repeat it. If you are not hearing no in your transformational pursuit, you are aiming too low. No is a rite of passage to be great. No is a rite of passage to be excellent. No is a rite of passage to be transformed for the better forever. I'm not ashamed to tell you I want to be great. NSBE is great and will continue to be great by pushing the envelope of expectation. I went to Fresno State, my bio will tell you, as an undergrad with a dream of working on Wall Street. They told me only 4 cool schools recruit students to work on Wall Street in the state of California. You can probably guess them. 2 up north, 2 down south. Berkeley, Stanford, UCLA, USC. I went to Fresno State. I have a problem. Very simply, I say, well, if you don't come to me, I'm going to come to you. I get out of school at Fresno State at 12 o'clock. Get on the internet, find out that this bank is recruiting at Stanford that afternoon. I drive 4 hours up north, meet the recruiter from the company I work for in the parking lot. Help the recruiter set up her booth and brochure. She says, my goodness, you are sure helpful. I said, you have no idea. She says, how you liking your time on campus? I said, man, the last 30 minutes have been great. She says, well, you answered my question kind of funny. I said, no, ma'am, I'm answering the question you asked me. If you want a different answer, ask me a different, but I'm answering your question. She says, well, fine, let's make it plain. I said, well, let's make it plain. 10 minutes till the interview starts, so let's get me in here and get it going. She says, son, are you a student that is enrolled here at Stanford University? I said, yes, ma'am. I am a student who is here and enrolled. She says, no, you're playing with my words. I said, no, ma'am. Oh, no. I'm not playing with your words. I repeated myself. If you want a different answer to your question, then you ask me a different question, but I am answering your question. She says, let me make it plain. I said, we've been through this now 2 times, so let's make it plain. She finally says it in a way that there's no wiggle room for me. I have to come clean, if you will. And she says, at the end of it, she says, this is a lesson to all of us. She says, why are you here then? If you don't actually go to school here, why are you here? I said, ma'am, I'm glad you asked, because I picked up your flyer and I read what it said. And your flyer said any student interested in working at this bank should attend. I am a student. I am interested in working at this firm. I am attending. I said, unless you want me as your helpful aide to go out and print 300 new copies and put the word Stanford in between student and attending, I'm at the right place at the right time. She says to me, well, gosh, I guess you're right. I said, no, I am right. She says, well, the least we could do is give you an interview. I said, ma'am, I drove 4 hours from Fresno, set up your booth. I'm the most helpful student you've seen all year. You can just hire me right now. She says, well, we can't do that. We got to go through the process. So let's go through the process. This is under the spirit of probable, transformational and probable, doing the work to make it happen. She says, well, at the end of the interview, there's two things she could say. You're hired or you're fired. At the end of the interview, doing all the right things, what do you think she says? You are not hired. Welcome to life. Welcome to doing all the right things the right way and not getting what you thought you deserved the first time through. Your speaker went through that exercise in the interest of time, not 15, not 20, not 40, 55 times. I put my name in the hat. 55 times they said, not today. And I said, that's okay. There's a lesson here for you. Take this down. I wrote this one that hit me this morning. You heard of the Bank of New York Mellon, BNY Mellon? People heard of that? Well, guess what bank I heard of? Bank of EY. I'm going to let you sit for a second and think about that. Bank of EY, going through these no's. Anybody have it? Here it is. Bank of EY. Every one of those rejections was a no. Every one of those rejections, I forced you to give me feedback on why did you tell me no. I never accepted no without explanation. You explained to me, why was I not the one? No with feedback is a deposit into the bank of EY, the bank of an eventual yes. I heard some people go, had a light bulb moment. Let that marinate. Every step I took, that no came with feedback. Every feedback went into my depository bank to get to my eventual yes. And eventually I heard yes. It's no small feat that most people, when they hear no the first time, usually do what? You know what happens to someone that gets told no 55 times? They become immune to the word no. I hear it and I twitch. Excuse me, come again? I don't understand. And I make you respectfully explain to me what was behind the no. Why was I not the one? What do you need to see more of? Who was the one? What do they look like? What do they talk like? What's their body of work? May I study that too, sir? And when are you coming back again? Because I'll meet you again next time. Burn with that fire and get to your eventual yes. A great one for you. That great pyramid I talked about, it says it was 146 meters. They said with the amount of equipment it took to build it, you could build 30 Empire State Buildings. For 3,800 years, it was the largest structure in the world. Here's the lesson there. The only reason they could build it that way is because they failed building the pyramids before that. There were many pyramids before that that did not survive that long. That pyramid stood that long because of the failure they had with pyramids before that, and the process was perfected over repetition, over repetition, over repetition. Do you know that by the time they hired me, I knew everything about every bank there was on Wall Street? Because I perfected it over and over and over again. By the time they were interviewing me, I said, I know everything you could possibly ask me about your company. Everything possibly about the function. Everything possibly about the skill that I need to be able to prove to you to do the work. Because I went through the no's to get to the eventual yes. One life lesson for you. People here familiar with Lonnie Johnson? If you're not, Lonnie Johnson, engineer, African American. You heard of the water gun? How about the super soaker? How about the man who created the super soaker, Lonnie Johnson, that for several years remained one of the best 20 selling toys on the earth? Lonnie Johnson, African American, engineer. Do you know that it was after 7 years of being told, no, Lonnie, no, before he finally in 1989 had someone take him seriously to get it going? Do you know that before that, Lonnie Johnson went to a predominantly African American high school, and even though he was a very good student, they said, why don't you just aim low, Lonnie, and just do the trade tech thing? Do you know that Lonnie says that what inspired him was the legacy of George Washington Carver that said, I will not give up on my dream to become an engineer and a great inventor. How blessed are we that I understand several members of your Chicago 6 still can be touched, still can be leaned on, still can be leveraged for that fuel for the eventual yes. My challenge for you, what can NSBE be thinking over the next 40 years to push the envelope that might come with a no along the way, to get to an eventual yes, to build a legacy of greatness that cannot be denied? There must be something. And last but probably most importantly, predictable. Transformational breakthroughs are predictable if you are prepared and have partners. Predictable transformations are predictable with breakthroughs if you have partners and you're prepared. 2 short frameworks and I close. When I went to business school at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth, I really enjoyed having my own letterhead and my own calligraphy. So much so I went to the local print shop one day and I told the person who I gotten to know there, I said, you know what, I want you to make me some business cards. And the lady said, okay, what do you want? I said, I want 250 of them. I want this type of color, this type of font, this type of print. I want you to put this website on there, this phone number, address, everything. And she says, no problem. She said, you're forgetting one thing. I said, what's that? She said, you don't have a title. I said, you're right. Why don't you write on there, professional speaker? And she said, what? Professional speaker, ma'am. You want me to write that? I'm paying you. It's not a negotiation. Right, I paid. I'd like, you know, if it's a couple dollars for extra characters, we can talk about that, but these are the characters I want. Professional speaker. She says, really? I said, you know what? While you're asking, why don't you also put and author? I said, if you keep asking me, I'm going to add some more things. Now, are we good? Are we good? 2 weeks later, I'm walking in to pick them up. They're there. 250 of them in the box. A woman that I haven't seen in a while is walking into the print shop as I'm walking out with my 250 cards that say I'm a professional speaker and author in my hand. She says, Ramsey, how you doing? I said, I'm doing great. Life is good. She says, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, I haven't seen you in a while either. She says, do you have a card? I said, ma'am, I have 250 of them. How many would you like? She says, oh, I just need one. I said, well, here you go. She picks it up. She says, oh, I didn't realize you're a speaker. I said, and author. She says, well, you know, I got an event coming up with some people and some kids. I need someone to speak. I said, ma'am, I will be there. I will speak. I will write my own text. I'm an author. What time is it? She says, oh, it's this time and this date. I show up. I speak at the event. There's several people in the room. They say, oh, that was outstanding. Do you have a card? I said, 249. Come and get them. People ask me all the time, when did you start giving speeches? I said, I started giving speeches in that room with that recorder before I had an audience. I have been doing what I'm doing my whole life. I said, friends, if I waited for someone to say, are you ready? I'd still be waiting. Sir, here's your invitation to give up. I'd still be waiting. I believed in my heart what I was, and then I gave myself permission to be it, and all of a sudden the world began to understand that, oh, that's what he does. I've been doing it my whole life. I prepared for a predictable opportunity before the opportunity came to me. What does this mean? You sit here today with a world and a country asking you to lead it to a better day. Science, technology, engineering, math, NSBE, 30,000 members, 1975, 6 great men from Chicago, and now you, now us. I don't know if I could think of a better time to be in the middle of such a movement. What an opportunity to know you will be writing your chapter of history right here, right now. I don't apologize for being energetic. I don't apologize for being excited. I don't apologize for being bold with my comments about how great this operation is. It is great, and it's necessary. Not one person, man or woman, would put their hand up and say that they got here by themselves. Somebody opened the door for you to this chapter. We've got to open it for others as well. My gift to you today will take 4 minutes to give you. I call this your quintessential motivator. With your eyes closed for the next 4 minutes, I give you the best gift I have ever been given. For the next 4 minutes, with your eyes closed, I'm giving you your quintessential motivator. By definition, quintessential meaning ideal, the template, the model, motivator, the fuel, the energy, the spark to keep you going. With your eyes closed and quiet in the room, even wait staff, I ask for you to give us 5 minutes, please. I'm asking you to think about one person. I'm asking you to identify one person. I'm asking you to crystal clear with detail put that one person in your mind. The one person who you know you may not be where you could be, but you're not where you could have been if it weren't for them. The one person who went without so you could go with. The one person who got up early and stayed up late. The one person that says, I believe in you on the moments that you said, I'm not sure, I believe in me. The one person that made the phone call day after day, even though you didn't return the message, they kept calling. The person that sent the email, the text message that you didn't necessarily respond to, but they said, I'm sending them anyway. The one person that says, keep on keeping on. The one person that says, I will never, ever let you know that you are not great. The one person that said, I still love you on days you couldn't find the words to say it or express it back. The one person whose shoulders you know you stand on tall for and allows you to see over that fence. The one person, when the day comes, friends, and I believe it will come, if not in the natural, in heaven, the day will come when the person that you are thinking about with crystal clear clarity and detail is excited to see you and ask a very simple question. How did you do? How did you do? With the sacrifice, with the investment, with the love, with the care, with the consideration, with the belief in you. How did you do with all of that? And we all will have two answers to give at that moment. One starts with, well, the race was difficult. I got bumped and bruised and battered and scraped, and I didn't quite get across the line, but I ran valiantly. The other person asked the same question, says, I got beat up. I got bruised. I didn't finish first. I fell down coming around the bend. I was tired. I was ragged. I was rough. They told me I couldn't make it. I had to repeat a few things. I got told no 55 times. I had to force my way to get in. But you know what? I finished the race.
Hi, my name is Eshawn Everett. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Ramsey J. Jr. for the powerful and very inspirational message today. I especially appreciated the concept of the bank of eventual yes, and just the fact that if you're not hearing no, then what you're doing is not as great as you should be pursuing.
It was a great speech. It was highly motivating. It allowed me to understand that, we have a responsibility. I mean, we have a responsibility not to just those the people that came before us, but the people that are going to come behind us. We have to understand that we cannot blaze any path alone. Somebody's already done it for us, and we have a responsibility to bring others along with us.
I am pleasantly pleased to have experienced such a wonderful speech and presentation by Mr. Ramsey J. today. I've been a member for NSBE for a while now, but this has been an awesome experience, and I really, really encourage others to really just listen and take heed to those 3 P's: possible, predictable, and probable, and apply it to your life. It was awesome, and I look forward to more great speeches.
Especially impressed by Mr. Ramsey's research on the fact that the pyramid was built exactly in the center of the earth. That's something that I had never would have thought of in a million years. And I actually kind of work with GIS coordinate systems a lot, and I was blown away by that fact. So that was one fact that kind of made it to me that anything is possible, and I should not limit myself to any kind of thought, any kind of possibility, never to limit myself. So that's my personal testimony from this experience.